You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie, and I'm proud of the life I have, surrounded by military and aware just how big the world really is. I have a unique perspective on life and the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View. Alright, how's everybody doing out there tonight? Yes, it's Jessie. Yes, I miss you when we're not talking. Alright, if you hear any noise in the background, I got hubby and host kitty in here fixing the printer. I'm not sure which one's doing the fixing and which one's doing the supervising, but there's some combination of all the above going on. Alright. So, because, well, I kind of needed my show prep. And the printer decided to try and start eating paper on me. So, what can I say? I had to call in the reinforcements. So, hubby and host kitty both came to see what was going on. So, apologize in advance if you hear some background noise. Alright, moving right along. I'm willing to bet a lot of you don't know what's been going on in Iran. Yeah, Iran. Alright, and I know you're looking at me like, well, we know about the centrifuges. You told us that yesterday. We know a few other things. What about that they've been in a years-long drought? And that their farmers are starting to do a lot of protesting because the drought has been further complicated by government mismanagement of water. You know how some places have dams and things like that? Yeah, those kinds of things. Well, the government's been opening and closing them to suit their wants, needs, and desires, not necessarily what's best for the crops. Womp womp. Fail. Yeah, that's just never a good idea. I mean, I understand opening and closing them for certain things, but I'm just not so sure that filling certain people's swimming pools is the best idea for feeding everyone. Yeah, pampered pooches of Tehran instead of Pyongyang. Now, not everybody in Tehran, unlike Pyongyang, is a pampered pooch. Alright? Everybody in Pyongyang is a pampered pooch. And that's just quite simply the way it goes. Now, there's some rumors, and I'm stressing rumors, that Hassan Rouhani, Iran's presidential chief of staff, claims the president has rejected 8 requests from Trump for one-on-one talks. And now, Iran just doesn't want to talk to the U.S. alone. They don't want to do what's called bilateral talks. They're willing to talk with the whole group, and I'm willing to suspect why. Iran would insist on Russia. Excuse me. Just like our good old Kung Fu Rick, my allergies are acting up just a little bit around here tonight. Host Kitty, will you stop making a mess and spilling your cat food? Well, so anyway, back to what I was saying. And yes, I did just yell at the host kitty. He is right here in the studio, roaming around somewhere. Kind of lost track of where he pawed off to, but I promise, he's here. Sorry about that. Hubby is not familiar with my printer because, well, it appeared while he was Oconus, or outside the continental United States. Now, we all know that President Donald Trump withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal. Unless you live under a rock, you got that one down cold. But anyway, so here's the thing. There's a European bank that the European banking system is throwing doubt on the EU plan to salvage the nuclear deal. Here's why. All right. Bank president said that while he supports the bank president, Werner Hoyer, said that he supports EU efforts to keep the 2015 deal alive. But the bank cannot play an active role. There is currently no European bank which is presently able to do business in and with Iran. And he notes that they would risk their entire business model, the entire business model for the bank, if they were active in Iran. The banks lending to Iran had been a central plank of the EU's plan to keep investment flowing money into Iran, while the U.S. is cutting off Tehran's access to the U.S. financial system as it is reimposing sanctions. Now, Hoyer fears that any dealings with Iran, any at all, would jeopardize its ability to raise money on the U.S. markets, and if it were cut off by the U.S., that would have a lot greater consequences than whatever they could earn by loaning Iran some money. Now, Iran, by the way, has called on the EU, or European powers, EU, same difference, trust me, to guarantee its economy continues to benefit from the nuclear agreement. Otherwise, it's walking. Now, the IAEA says Iran's still complying with the deal, despite the U.S. withdrawal. But remember, just yesterday, Iran appeared to take a step towards the door by announcing it is continuing to acquire uranium and close to finishing a plant where it can build more centrifuges to enrich uranium. Womp womp. Fail. Alright, and if you weren't here listening last night, they built this factory to make more centrifuges while they were negotiating the Iran nuclear deal, or JCPOA, or whatever. So, if they're building a plant to help them make more centrifuges, while they're negotiating a deal about their nuclear weapons progress, did they have any intention, any whatsoever, of walking away from nuclear weapons? Not that I can tell. Now, one of the other things I'm willing to bet none of you are aware of, yeah, none of you, is that our Iran and Russia's sanctions are causing problems with our relationship with another country. No, it's not Turkey. What it is India. Now, ties between the U.S. and India have been expanding as India has shed its non-aligned foreign policy in favor of close trade and security with the U.S. after the collapse of the Soviet Union. However, they're starting to do more with other countries. So, one of those things. Remember, they were looking at importing workers because they have a labor shortage. Now, one other thing I need to point out about this whole Iran thing. Tehran generally responds to pressure by issuing threats. No surprise, you'll see more death to America, death to Israel, whole 9 yards. Iran is now going, how far do we want to push our luck? Are they going to start tormenting our ships in the ocean by running those cigarette boats right up against it again? Are they going to start doing ballistic missile tests again? And by the way, if I need to remind you, I shouldn't, but who does Iran trade with? Well, Russia, yeah, that's one. Who else? Come on, you better know some of these other countries. Iran trades with none other than, ding ding ding, North Korea. Yep. And Iran, and I cannot prove this one and probably will never be able to. At least not in my lifetime. But if you look at the North Korean nuclear weapons development timeline, you look at it on a timeline, and you add into that timeline when Obama sent a plane load of cash into Tehran, and you move forward about 6 months, North Korea's nuclear missile program took a huge leap forward. Alright, so let's go back to the farmers. Severe drought is across Afghanistan as well as Iran. All right, it's the whole region, friends. So they can see the Helmand River. They can't touch it. We can't bring its water to their farmlands. And these are farmers who grow wheat and lentils in the southern province of Helmand. And that's because Afghanistan, a lot of the water is flowing into Iran. Afghan officials say their country has one of the lowest levels of water storage capacity in the world and needs extra dams to feed its agricultural sector. Now there's a drought across the region, and protests and water shortages are rocking Iran, and Afghanistan is pressing ahead with plans for new dams. So, we have a river that runs through multiple countries. And we got two different groups of farmers and people that really want it. 20 million people in Afghanistan rely on farming, and it's seen a 45% fall in the last year. So it's really taken a huge hit. Tehran had already voiced concern that the huge Indian-financed Salma Dam in western Herat would reduce water flowing into Iran. Now, Afghan officials are planning additional dams. No one's saying how many. And the Helmand River, which runs through much of Afghanistan from the mountains north of Kabul, feeding the Sistan wetlands and borders the regions of Iran, is part of it. And here's why. There's a 1973 treaty which assigned Iran 820 million cubic meters of water a year. But with Afghanistan at war for the past 40 years, that supply has been a little titchy. It's been erratic. Some years they get it, some years they don't. Now, Iran says they're just trying to make Afghanistan honor the water sharing agreement and seek their consent to prevent environmental damage caused by their dams. Donors, such as India, have expressed the interest in investing in 2 dams in central Afghanistan, and they say that Iran claims, well, India's got to come talk to us. A senior Indian diplomat in Kabul says, talk to Iran? Why? We're building in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, for its part, says lack of dams on our side of the border has made it impossible to control the runoff into Iran, which has received well above its allotted share of water. Well, I do have a question there, and they have a point. How do you can measure how much water flows into another country if there isn't something there? By the way, there was a gauging station on the Kajaki Dam, the point agreed in the 1973 treaty for measuring annual flow, but there's a major problem. It's under Taliban control, and no one's been able to get there since 2015. So, believe it or not, there's a water crisis going on. And this one isn't in Africa. This one's in the Middle East. Now, moving right along, we're going to still futz around Iran for just a few moments. But not in the way you think. Now, does anybody remember? Does anyone remember who Iran funds? Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi rebels? Yeah, you're on the right track. All right. An Iranian general who recently visited the Gaza Strip didn't offer to build the Palestinians a hospital or a school. He didn't offer financial aid to create projects that would give jobs to unemployed Palestinians. His message to the people in the Gaza Strip was, Iran will give you as much money and weapons as you need as long as you are committed to the jihad against Israel and the United States. Now, Hamas agreed to this, and then it turns around, tells the UN that it wants to improve the living conditions of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. So, one hand reaches out to Iran, says, give us money and give us weapons, and another hand reaches out to the UN going, we want to make the lives of our people better and build hospitals and schools and houses and roads. Okay, Iran is essentially using the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip as cannon fodder. They are the puppet master pulling the string. And USAID and a lot of the UN funding that we give to has gone directly to Palestinians. Do you remember what Gaza does with approximately 50% of its funding? Anybody remember? If you said they pay people who are jailed or executed for killing Israelis or Americans and other Westerners, then you're right. Up to $30,000 to $40,000 a year. And need I remind you that, okay, that's Hamas. Hezbollah is in Lebanon, which is just on the verge of becoming a failed state. And the Houthis, just for the give all of you catch up, are in Yemen. They have literally ousted the government of Yemen from at least 50% of the country. And that's not a good thing. Now, it's one of those things where you have Palestinian terror group, like I said, Mahmoud Abbas sees Tehran as a pawn in the hands of the U.S. and Israel. Mahmoud Abbas, Tehran sees him as a pawn. And he wants to use him to advance Iran's goal of destroying Israel. Mahmoud Abbas he may be elected. But when the best job you can get is to go kill a bunch of people and sit in jail and get paid for it, and Mahmoud Abbas is setting that up for you, come on. Who are you going to vote for? Now, the UN Special Coordinator for Middle East Peace, Nikolai Maldanov, has been on a mission to prevent another war on the Gaza Strip. However, as long as Iran continues to fund Hamas and other terror groups in the region, well, hold your breath and buckle your seatbelt. Because as much as I don't want to see people suffer, that sound may be coming to the Gaza Strip sooner than we'd like. Because who does Israel call when they get into trouble? They call the U.S. All right, folks, I have blown past the bottom of the hour. So we are going to take a commercial break. Yes, we are going to pay those radio station bills. Just as a reminder, you can follow me on Twitter at Radio Host Jesse. You can email me at the station at Jesse's POV at KLRNRadio.com. See you on the other side.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk, or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Get your freedom, take it by the hand, and don't let it go. Get your freedom, if you don't take this chance, then you'll never know. Get your freedom, take it by the hand, and don't let it go.
Thank you for hanging in there with me while we paid those radio station bills. All right. I did promise a Good Guys with Guns segment this week. And yeah, I usually do them towards the end of the show, but I decided we're going to lead off with it right after the commercial break tonight. Why? Just because I can.
I never fired a shot to harm one soul. Self-defense is my number one goal. To the politicians, don't be so stupid. I'm keeping my arms to protect my kids. None of the gun laws ever stop the criminal. More CCPs will keep crime minimal.
All right. I am going to give props to the Lee County School Board in Virginia. And yes, this does tie into Good Guys with Guns. The Lee County School Board in Virginia unanimously voted to allow teachers to carry firearms at school to defend against potential threats. It is the first county in Virginia to allow teachers to have guns in schools. Now, this will be possibly as early as October in each of the district's 11 schools. How the plan will work. Many teachers have already volunteered. There will be a limit to the number of teachers approved to carry on campus. Their names will not be publicly disclosed. The teachers will go through a screening and training process before they're allowed to have a gun at school. The guns and training will be paid for by the district. The district did look into more common options for increasing school security, such as metal detectors and school resource officers. But the reason they went with this, they were too expensive. Who else arms teachers? Just FYI, Texas. Roughly 10% of Texas school districts allow staff to carry firearms, most of which made the decision after the massacre at, wait for it, Sandy Hook in 2012. At least 14 states arm some teachers, and another 16 give school board authorities to set a campus carry policy for staff. So this is not the first school district in the nation to allow teachers to carry. And there's one other story I wanted to mention. The Catholic Diocese in Texas is removing gun-free signs from church entrances for safety reasons. The Catholic Diocese of Fort Worth is removing signs that tell people to not carry guns on church property. in part because of the mass killing at the Baptist Church, First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas. And the Catholic diocese, after that, hired a group of security consultants that said, remove the signs. First of all, and they said, quote unquote, the signs identify the church as a gun-free zone and that could make them vulnerable to attacks. So those signs started to disappear. When you advertise you're a gun-free zone, you advertise your location is vulnerable. If there's no sign, you don't know. There could be nobody carrying. There could be 100. There is still a no guns policy. The only difference is the policy is being stated in the weekly bulletins. Well, someone could be a visitor and not read. In addition, they could have my opinion. Unless you're running me through a metal detector, I'm carrying. I don't care. I will carry concealed, but I will not be a target. Now, we've been dragged through the mud at the UN. That doesn't come as a big surprise. It happens fairly regularly, more often than I mention it to you. But signaling new tensions over North Korea at the United Nations, Russia and China blocked disciplinary steps brought by the United States to stop what are called rampant cheating on North Korea's petroleum imports. UN diplomats, Russia and China, who are both permanent members of the Security Council, used their power to delay action on American complaint to a Security Council sanctions panel that accused North Koreans of importing up to triple the amount of refined petroleum allowed this year. The American complaint was filed last week under Security Council procedures. Other members had until midday Thursday to object. Just before the deadline, Russia, supported by China, put a hold on the complaint, which delays any action for 6 months. All right, remember, China is North Korea's big brother, and Russia is their rich uncle. I don't know how else to describe it. And if North Korea is subverting sanctions on imported petroleum, KJU will be under a lot less pressure to disarm. We suspect that North Korea imported approximately 1.4 million barrels of refined petroleum, which is triple the amount allowed for all of 2018. Much of it was smuggled via illicit ship-to-ship transfers at sea. The move by Russia and China to delay any action on the complaint came right before Secretary of State was set to visit the United Nations for talks on North Korea with diplomats from the Security Council, South Korea, and Japan. So we will have to see what happens there. And yes, that was from today. Now, North Korea, well, we already know they're not a nice place. And goodness knows, I don't want to live there. But I feel for the people. I really do. because they are in essence slaves. Now, they're also malnourished and starving. There have been multiple surveys, and there was a recent one. There is a significant gap between urban and rural areas in child malnutrition in North Korea. Only 32% of children in the rural province of Gangri are short for their age, while 10% in Pyongyang are stunted. Have their growth stunted by malnutrition. And this was UNICEF that did this study. 1 in 5 children are short or weigh less than normal in North Korea, although the national rate of malnutrition has dropped from 28% to 19%, which is significant. And the 28% was back in 2012. Now, let's put this in comparison. Child malnutrition in Bangladesh is at 36%, 32% in Cambodia, and 38% in India. North Korea has had better agricultural production recently, and some improving economic conditions despite them pouring so much blood and treasure into the nuclear missile program. By the way, only 19% of the households own a computer, and only 1% have access to the internet. Yes. Now, remember I mentioned last night that KJU called all of his diplomats in for an unscheduled meeting of senior diplomats? They normally Alright. They've held the meetings in 2015, 2017, and 2011. They normally do them every other year, so the next one isn't scheduled until 2019. But KJU said, all y'all get in here. Now, in 2011, by the way, ambassadors were instructed to bring 800,000 tons of food. We don't know when it's happening, but I will say it's surprising, it's unscheduled, and it could mean anything. Now, South Korea, for its part, is looking at changing laws on inter-Korean exchange. And I discussed some of this last night, but I've got a little more information. What they're looking at is they're trying to reopen the Kaesong Industrial Complex. For those of you who don't know what Kaesong is, South Korea supplies the companies, the equipment, and the electricity, and the managers. And North Korea supplies the workers. Now, here's the cool thing. The North Korean workers actually were treated really well by their South Korean managers because it was actually a place where they didn't necessarily get to keep a lot of their money, but the managers would bring in things like snack cakes and things to eat or things that they could take home and use. Sewing kits, cloth, whatever. Shampoo, toiletries. Yes, those basic things we take for granted. Now, the law would require Seoul to submit for cabinet review any restrictions on inter-Korean projects and provide economic support for businesses that are suspended for unforeseen reasons, because Park Geun-hye, the former president, ordered the Kaesong complex shut down in 2016. And that violated an agreement between the two Koreas signed in 2013 to leave Kaesong unaffected by potential tensions on the peninsula. The current restrictions apply in the following scenarios. North Korea imposes an unreasonable burden on exchange. North Korea poses military threats to the safety of South Korean citizens, or international cooperation becomes a priority, or when an inter-Korean agreement is violated. Now, Kim Jong-hong, chairman of the Kaesong Industrial Foundation, said reopening the factories would be the first step for cooperation. And it was not a special favor to North Korea, by the way. It was intended to support the South Korean economy stuck in a low-growth trap. And for those of you who don't know, it actually was a great sign of cooperation. I was privileged enough to be able to visit the peninsula when it was up in operation. And I was actually able to purchase products that had manufactured in North Korea stamped on them. I purchased a wide variety of things, and I still have most of them. Now, there are South Korean workers staying in the north border town attempting to repair the facilities at the liaison office. So they're doing the repair work. Now, what kind of repair work? Well, they need to repair houses and all kinds of other things because these places have been shuttered unexpectedly, which means stuff wasn't disconnected right, stuff wasn't turned off. And then North Korea went in and said, well, fine, it's on our property, you pulled out. We're going to go in and do what we want with it. And they cannibalized a lot of it. So, oh, and by the way, North Korea is still calling for the repatriation of those 12 restaurant workers who defected to South Korea. And they're saying that any delay would negatively affect inter-Korean relations. Now, there's a website claiming that the workers were coerced into the South and sending them back would be a goodwill gesture to the North. And there's another website that claims they were kidnapped. One the restaurant manager said he was tricked into defecting and that South Korea's spy agency was involved in the process. I'm going to explain something. He may have said that, even though he wasn't tricked, in an attempt, albeit as thin and futile as possible, to protect any family he has remaining in the North. Because remember, North Korea will execute you as soon as look at you. Alright, I thank all of you for hanging in there with me this week. And as always, you can email me at the station at Jesse's POV at KLRNRadio.com. And you can catch up with me on Twitter at Radio Host Jesse. On that note, I'm gone.